Let's see. Can I be heard? Hopefully. Can I be seen? Hopefully. I need to do some prep for tonight's the live play that I'm running at 7 p.m. All goes according to Hoyle Eastern time. And since I need to do some prep, I figured I should just do it. So that is what I'm doing. This is a scenario from the adventure Kavlov Sanctuary from the Dungeon Key, which I'm working with them to convert over to Old School Essentials. Frederick is asking, is it for the Mouse Ritter game? Yeah, I've had to go full heal on the mice. So here's the mouse update. I've got a couple of mouse updates. So yesterday afternoon, some background. I don't like to hurt animals. I really even don't love to hurt insects. I mean, there's certain insects that are beyond the pale. Cockroaches and mosquitoes. But usually I'll try to take something if it's in the house and I can gather it up. I will try to free it outside somewhere, and I'll even speak to it and wish it well, and hopefully it'll find a new home. And I sometimes will tell the others that I was kind and therefore to leave me alone, kind of thing. And I don't want to hurt the mice. I'd much rather just, if there was a way I could just repel the mice without having to harm them, I would love to do that. But it doesn't seem to be working out. So I think yesterday I released a couple of mice out, and I think I forgot to mention this, but actually as I went out driving around, and I bought some poison and some lethal traps. I have a non-lethal trap, which is very unsuccessful, and there's a couple of lethal traps, and I bought a couple more, and I bought some poison because, unfortunately, for the mice, one, they're not leaving, or they were gone and then they've come back, and seemingly with a vengeance, because I seem to be just spotting them. I feel like every time I would turn around, mouse, and they're just unhygienic. They get in things. They poop everywhere. They get in stuff like I can't have them. Can't have them here. Cannot have them. I might even feel differently if they just were like, hey, you know what? We made a deal and say, listen, we're just gonna stay in the basement. Maybe you'll see us out of the corner of your eye, but we're just gonna leave you alone. Maybe I'd be like, all right, mouse. But you walk on my kitchen counters. You shit wherever you poop wherever you're walking. You're getting into stuff. You're chewing on wires and things that I need. Like I can't have you. I can't have you. And when I had drove out, and buying the stuff, I pull back in and I can see that a mouse, probably one of the mouse I'd released, seems like was going around the corner of the house, like looking for the way back in. And I'm like, you little mother. So I've marked where I think it was trying to dig in, because this is an old house, and there's no defensive. The walls are purely ornamental at this point. No defensive value. No defensive value at all. Yes, Brian Smith, we are starting with some mouse tails. No defensive value. So I'm thinking, no doubt this mouse is gonna. I don't know if it knows where to get in, and that's where it's getting in, or it's just trying to get in somewhere. I'm not sure. Hard to say. So I placed a couple of the traps in spots where I thought, and I put out some of the poison and some of the things, and we'll see how those things work. I would much hope that the mice will recognize the poison and the traps and say, we're just going to need to find a barn down the road. Brian Smith says it's coming back from rat flesh. Well, the rat's gone. The rat body's gone, and hopefully that was just a one-off too. Because that guy was not the mice they'd be so cute if they weren't invaders, but the rat was. At least I think it was a rat. It looked like a rat. I'm from the city for the most part, and but I know a chipmunk or other things. It's a rat, and I certainly see a lot of rats. So then I was actually on a video call with the players for tonight's game, just going through some stuff, checking out how we're going to stream, just checking out how things are going with that. Just get our setup, kind of give it a little bit of a dry run in terms of this is where we're going to be doing, and this is kind of how it's going to look more or less. And okay, we're doing all that. And I'm sitting here and I see the mouse going around. I mean, the mouse is coming like really close to me, and I'm talking, and there are lights on. I'm moving around in my chair, and the mouse is coming up doing its thing. And I'm thinking, like, you dirty dog. You know, and it was distracting me because I'm constantly like seeing this stupid mouse run around. So I'm like, all right, like I didn't want to go to be the heel, but I'm gonna have to be the heel here. I just said the mouse is basically my co-GM. Could be. So what's funny is I laid out some of the. So I'd already. I think I mentioned already. I put out some of this poison and little. I don't know. They say not to just put it on the floor, but put it. So I have a little container, you know, kind of little saucer type things. And I put some in there. Put the traps. And I mean, I watched it go by. One of the traps I had just went right around it, like do. I'm like, oh, like they're clearly too dumb to avoid something much bigger than them, who doesn't seem to be happy with them. They'll just come up and start a conversation with me, but they know how to avoid those traps. You know, so I don't know about that. And then so this morning, I'm now like looking, okay. Anything, and I know this stuff takes time. I know that I'm not going to lay a trap and then in the first day it's going to spring. I know that, but it's still, I'm checking it. So I go and I check. Okay, I'm looking at all these things. Like, no dice. I'm looking at the bowls and I'm like, did it anything take? Did it take any food? I can't tell. I don't have a photographic memory of how I laid out the food. So I'm like, all right, I don't know. I don't know if anything took it or not. And then just for kicks, I look in the bucket. The bucket's right there still. So I lay the bucket back, and sure enough, there's the mouse sitting in the corner of the bucket, just like taking a nap. I don't know. It's sitting in the bucket. So this time I took it outside, and I walked like a quarter mile away, and I just kind of emptied the bucket, sort of chucked it flying little feet over a little thing, because I don't have the heart to stomp on it and kill it. I don't. Or I just think it's awful to me to drown it or something else. I can't do it. Can't do it. If it eats the poison, if it hits the trap, that's one thing. I can't just throttle the mouse or do whatever. So, but hopefully I took it a far enough distance away where that mouse is not coming back. Now, the mystery to me is I don't know how many mice are here. I've had 3 or 4 mouse sightings, though none since I took that mouse outside. I don't know what that means, but I was just seeing it so often yesterday. I felt like every time I turned around, I looked in a corner, there's a mouse walking by. So I don't know if it's a bunch of mice. I don't know if there was 2 or 3 mice, and I've now gotten rid of both those mice. I don't know. That's the mouse update. And I hate to have gone just complete heel on the mice, but I've had to for my own sanity. And this is some pretty much, I'm not a big Diet Pepsi fan, but we had some Diet Pepsi in the house from when some of my in-laws came to visit. So I have some of that. It's rather flat, but I'm just drinking it anyway to drink it for the working man. I also have a Spindrift waiting for me in reserve. Ryan asks, have I considered that this may be a Stuart Little situation and the mouse is interested in my game prep? If it talked, particularly if it talked with the voice of Michael J. Fox, that might change my mind. But that hasn't happened yet. And it's had opportunities because it's been walking around coming at me. So if it wanted to say something to me, it's had the time to do it. All right, so what I'm doing here now is prepping what will be tonight's game. A one-shot, if you will, that takes place in the materials, I guess I'm calling it one of the scenarios. So Kavlov Sanctuary, it's very much patterned after Keep on the Borderlands. If you can see here, this map is comes in the book, and it even has that style. So here's the Sanctuary, which is a sort of like your keep sanctuary walled town. And then there's stuff around here. The main area of the map that has most of the stuff is this area here, the Dreaded Hills. which would be analogous to your Caves of Chaos with lots of caves. A number of different caves with a number of different things in it. We're going to be concentrating on one of those. And I might just, in terms of describing it, I might just describe that one cave as being part of it, but know that in the book, this is just one of, much like there are in the Caves of Chaos, those sort of, there's the overall cave complex, and then there's individual homes and things. It's similar to that. So what we're going to be dealing with tonight, or they're going to be dealing with, is this Cannibal's Den, which is one of those, be one of the smaller cave complexes in the overall, cave complexes or cave systems in the overall cave complex. It's not a huge space. This is one. There's a couple of versions of this map. There's one in the overall book that has all the maps, but I'm just going to be really concentrating on this one. And counting hexes, or sorry, counting squares here, and this would all be within definitely one 6 mile hex. And I think there's a little bit of, I don't know, just the same way that kind of the Caves of Chaos, where you can, if you want to be, oh, why are the caves so close, right? You know, whatever reason, or not necessarily whatever reason, but it is not far from the sanctuary to the dreaded hills. I think it's maybe half a mile. So you pretty much almost sight across here. Maybe I should, hold on. Where's I can maybe, let me pull up the whole, I can pull up the whole, let's see if I actually wanted to open this up in a new window. No, never mind. Don't do that. hold on, let me see if I can do this. For once, I actually want to open it up. There we go. Okay, if we, just so you can see it. So this is what the entire cave complex looks like. Can I scroll down? I can't quite get it to be all. It's not going to let me. Can I do this? There, maybe that. Okay. And the area we're looking at is this one right here. Right there. So it's one of the first, it's one of the caves that's lowest to the ground on the edge of the hills. It's right there. So probably for the purposes of tonight, I'm not going to mention that there are other caves, because obviously this is a one shot. I'm not really interested in them doing the just going bananas on different caves. Frederick says, do the Murphy orc trap, but with kobolds. Well, there are no kobolds here. So the denizens of this cave are cannibals. And I'm actually not familiar with whatever the Murphy orc trap is. So you might have to explain that to me. It doesn't ring a bell. So I've been thinking I spent a little bit of time earlier today and maybe last night a bit on the overall backstory. The backstory, boys. I should probably make I wish it wouldn't stick it right there, because I don't want it there. I've got a couple of ideas. So the backstory is that these guys are all, so the story of the sanctuary as a whole is this is a place you come to basically grieve, mourn, that sort of thing. So you're coming here because you are grieving lost loved ones. So my concept for this is that the player characters all came to the sanctuary to participate in the rites and rituals. I can zoom in here because I'm sure this is very small. Of mourning. And then once so they all came together, right? So I imagine that there are, this could be whatever you want, obviously. In my imagination, what's happening is that you might find organized, because the world is dangerous, and certainly You've got all kinds of nastiness not far off this road, so you're probably coming in some kind of in groups. Over the course of their journey to sanctuary, and their stay here, they have bonded with each other. Now, the rites are completed, yet they are loath to leave. So they've come to they came here. Oops. No. What did it do that for? Hold on a minute. What? No. Thank you. So they've come they to do these rites and rituals to get over their mourning, and they going through all that, and they came as part of the same, it's kind of like you come as a group or you end up in the same group, so you do everything with your group. It's kind of like, oh, you guys are all in group A, all right, you're in group B, and so you sit together, you eat together, you do the rites together, and through that you bond. And that these folks, for whatever reason, kind of having bonded, maybe aren't so quick to want to return home. Maybe they don't have much home to return to, and so they're kind of waiting, looking for a purpose, a little bit, right? Looking for a purpose. Elder Goblin says they've been trying to get their hands on a Mouse Ritter box for set forever. Are they rare Mouse Ritter box sets? I don't have one. I know people really like it. I haven't seen it. I haven't really looked for it. Are they out of print? Was that like a Kickstarter special? Brian Smith says, old high school friends return to their hometown for a funeral. Not quite. This is more like they come for the funeral and stay to become friends. This maybe, but yes, it is not dissimilar to, and you're talking early 2000s. I mean, that's like, what was the classic? The Big Chill. You got that thing going on. So early 2000s, Big Chill is probably really actually the peak of that, and that's early 80s. Might be before your time, Brian, but check out the Big Chill. It's got Kevin Kline, and it's got a lot going on. It kind of spawned, I want to say, again, before your time, but it's one of those, I want to say forgotten shows, but in the 80s, 30-something was a really big show, and it also had that same sort of vibe to it. 30-year-olds kind of wondering what to do with themselves a little bit, getting in each other's business. Garden State. Well, yeah, Garden State. Yeah. I'd say the Big Chill is like the Uber one. You should look it up. It's probably what's Garden State with Zach Braff. I don't even know if I've seen that all the way through. But check out the Big Sleep. Yeah, definitely listless 30. Yeah, and then that kind of moved into the what would be sort of kind of the, what's the word I'm thinking of, Seth Rogen sort of stories. Oh yeah, so they're here. So there's the backstory. The player characters have come here. They're wondering what to do with themselves. They don't know what to do with themselves. They're kind of looking for, they're almost begging, pleading somebody to give them something to do. So there's a person here called the Master of Rituals, who they would have been. They would, the Master of Rituals, as the title implies, would have been taking them through all the rituals, would have been leading these mourning bereavement ceremonies. So here in my in the setup here, that they had a nightmarish vision of a massive mouth consuming souls while silhouettes of Let's see. Well, I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, while living victims. Morning, noon, and night. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. I think there is a, what do they call the, I believe there is a, well, there's a stables. Mourner's Inn. So the inn here is called Mourner's Inn. But yes, morning, noon, and night would have been good. So they've had a nightmarish vision. So the master of rituals had a nightmarish vision of massive mouth consuming souls, while humanoid silhouettes feasted, or actually, hold on, danced around, danced maniacally around a raging fire, feasting on living victims. So basically, hello, I'm not being coy. No point in being coy or shy or beating around the bush. I mean, if you know, they're, you know, these are people eaters, cannibals. That's a hell of a dream, bub. I'm out. I could just see someone going and goes, boy, that's one nice dream. I hope you do something about it. Bye. But as if to answer that question, they believe the PCs be connected to this dream somehow. That it is their, I don't know, yes. Maybe they believe they're connected to the dream somehow. I also want to seed that some of the PCs will have also would have had a dream also. Which I'm calling the gibbering dream. Have the PCs roll a d6. Anybody with an odd results indicate that they experienced a gibbering dream the night before. So, you know, we're going to tie these. So, you know, I'm trying to tie all these together in a sense. Tie them together. Oops, that didn't work. I'm thinking I'm going to ask, well, I guess I should say, what is the gibbering dream? That might be helpful. No, not that. What does this do? What is slash? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I can make a doodle card? Oh, man. Look at this. I'm just discovering stuff. Well, that's cool. I don't want any of that, though. What I really want. What is the gibbering dream? Smith asks, do I have any thoughts of what the setting might be for where this dream gets described to them? Dark inn with crackling coals relayed on the wagon ride into town. No, so they're already in town. So the idea here is they've been in town. Let me go back to the map. Head back to the map. They're starting here in the sanctuary. So the idea is that they came to town some weeks, maybe months, maybe a month prior. Though the relayed on the wagon ride into town reminds me a lot of a starting Skyrim kind of situation. They've been in the town. They came in some kind of group because this is dangerous lands. So maybe there's somebody who brings people under guard, the armed caravans into town to the sanctuary to do these rituals. You feeling such an overwhelming loss or whatever it is, or maybe just religiously you feel like you need to come to this place and cleanse yourself and fulfill your obligations of bereavement. So they've done that, but they came as a group. They all happened to ride in the same Pony Express. And so having been together through the setup of rituals, however many weeks it is, or days of rituals that you're going through different things, you're doing them, at least in my imagination, you're doing them in kind of small groups. And the player characters, they happen to be in the same group. Like I said before, okay, you guys are all in group A. You're going to sleep in the same apartments. You're going to eat at the same time. And when we're going through the ceremonies, you're going to do it all at the same time. So this is all kind of backstory stuff. This will be stuff I will run down in the first minute or so of the adventure, but this would be akin to you come down, in a meta sense. Hey, you're sitting down. If this was a one shot at a con or something, this is what I would set up. This is part of that setup. This is who you are. So you guys all know each other. You've been a part of this group. Now you've done the morning stuff. You're finished. But for whatever reason, maybe that hunger or thirst or call of adventure has kept you kind of hanging around. You guys haven't gone home yet. And you've been just thinking, wondering to yourself, what is keeping us here? Why are we not going home? There's something, even if you don't know it exactly, that you're almost like you're waiting for something. You're waiting for that call to adventure to come out and grab you. And the call to adventure comes in the person of the master of rituals, who have had this nightmarish vision and then say, like, for some reason, I see you guys as being somehow a part of this, connected to it. Maybe you guys can put an end to this nightmare. And then some of them, and there's a chance, if nobody rolls an odd die, if it's lucky, and there's 4 players and they all roll evens, then maybe I'll just pick a couple of people. But ultimately, some of them will have had some kind of nightmare, which will, in a sense, it's really just more for flavor, to just confirm that, like, oh my gosh, I had that same dream, that kind of, what is that, Field of Dreams? Oh, you dreamt of this thing, like, who's Moonlight Graham? Like, we've all had that dream, or at least, we did. Maybe actually, actually a good idea. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, they're all just going to have the dream. I'm not going to have them roll dice. Once they've heard hearing the Master of Rituals nightmare, each of the PCs will realize that they had a similar nightmare themselves that they had somehow forgotten. Well, there you go. I'm going to take it out of, it's a good note to self and a good thing. Don't put to chance what you don't want to have to chance. Because as I'm talking through it, which is why I really appreciate talking through things, it made me realize that I don't want there to be a chance that nobody has the nightmare. It doesn't make sense. So I could have said pick a couple of people, but rather than being favoritism or having favoritism come into it, and I don't have a sense. I mean, maybe if I had a group and I thought, like, oh, this person's going to be real hammy with it, and so I want them because they'll take this seed of a nightmare that I give them and they'll flesh it out and that'll be a lot of fun, or something else, right? I'm just gonna say everybody had it, and then they can each one. I don't know if I'll have people, if they want to, maybe they can describe how they had this nightmare, but their dreams are gonna be slightly different, but it'll be obvious that they're connected. Yeah. Hideous. As I say, avoid. Gibbering. And they're all these tongues are barking and gibbering and whispering do not understand, but that nevertheless fill you with dread. You know what? Sure, why not? So, their dreams, they dream that they were, in a void filled with hideous mouths, with lolling tongues, all barking and gibbering and whispering in tongues. Maybe you shouldn't use tongues twice. Whispering. Yeah. And language. Void filled with hideous mouths, lolling tongues, all barking and gibbering and whispering in inane language that you do not understand, but that nevertheless fills you with dread. That is the gibbering dream. It's it's really we're talking flavor here, right? I'm not going to give, there's not going to be some penalty, there's not going to be whatever, but it's to reinforce the fact. And look, the people who are playing tonight, we know it's understood while we're playing, right? So I could give, I could go with nothing and they would follow along because they all understand that we're here to have fun and play this game, but go down a particular path, right? So even though, they're going to come out here, they're not all of a sudden going to be like, we're going to strike east for the hills, but still, I'm going to run this as if I would, though I've never really run a con game, kind of like how I would imagine I would want to run a con game. Someone's going to be like, oh, my character speaks gibbering. Well, they don't understand it. Part of the whole dream is they don't understand what these things are saying, but it nevertheless, it's deeply disturbing, even though they don't understand the lick of it. And the reason what the whole thing with the dreaming thing is there is an element at the end of the dungeon, the sort of I don't know why this particular PDF. I could probably switch to it. Is this it here? Yeah, I have it here. Here's it. I can see it more clearly. There is in the final room. There is a shrine. And in the shrine itself is basically like a mouth. With a throat. And so the mouth, you can defeat the mouth and then do that. So that's kind of what this is. This is linking to the mouth. So I'm just building some linkages. So the linkage, we have the priest kind of has the linkage between the cannibals and the mouth. These guys are also linked to the mouth. Brian says, might not be feasible, but it'll be fun to tell each player that they've experienced this dream individually and get lots of RP juice out of how they tell each other. If I was running this if this was the beginning of something, or if I had more time, I might. But I'm cognizant we're going to be playing for probably 3 to 4 hours. So, and I don't have any sense. I mean, there are a couple things I don't know. I don't know I have no clue how long this is going to take. So I've not done this multiple times. Could be, it could steamroll through it. It could take longer. I don't know. So I have to look at it like I have to really plan this out like I was running this. I'm kind of taking the approach like I'm running this for a con game. We've got a 3 to 4 hour block. And that's not including if we have to take a 5-minute, pee, drink, whatever break. So I'm trying, there's a bit of it's a focus. So like in a con game, I would not trouble with like giving a bunch of rumors and that kind of thing, because you don't want to, maybe all the rumors lead to the same place might be one, and you can have fun, a little bit of fun with, all the rumors lead to the cannibal's den, but they all say kind of different things. Could be interesting. Give everybody a slip of paper sort of thing might be doable, but I want to keep things kind of focused. And this is all like we're using new characters that people are only going to have even us, even the people who are making it, not have the firmest grasp of. So there might be a lot of stuff with that. So I want to make sure that we're kind of focused in on things. If I was playing a longer game, or this is something we're doing over a couple of weeks or like a thing, then I might. But I think there's a lot of things going on, and I don't want to muddy it up too much. I don't want to muddy things up too much, potentially muddy things up too much, because I want, and I think I'm going to be asking this stuff already. So to the point of adding some flavor and kind of a little bit of, one of the things I was going to ask in sort of part of the introductory part is ask each player like who their characters came to grieve, like who was it, and I want to play that up a little bit, maybe in certain aspects, maybe if there's time. That's why I have this table of bereavement on the side, is I wanted to have a little bit of of a bit of a give people a little bit of where you can kind of have set some of that flavor. Having the individual rumors, I think the payoff and stuff is good. It can be good, but it's also one of those things that if I had more time, I'd be able to, I feel like, to get into it. I think if it was a bigger thing, there'd be more space to pay off a lot of stuff. There's the part of the thing with this is it's a fairly simple. This is not a complex scenario, so there's not a whole lot of angles to it, also, which I think is good for a starter scenario that we can kind of have fun with. But there's not lots of twists and turns to it necessarily, which I think is good, because I want the focus really to be on the setting, the flavor, the new classes, that stuff, and not on something we're going to get kind of turned around. But I totally agree with you. If it were something bigger, longer, having some of those rumors and things could be good. I'm leaning on keeping it focused. Maybe that'll work, maybe it won't work. This is in many ways is a big test trial thing for me, because I haven't done a kind of a I'm treating this as if I was running it sort of at a con. I haven't done that sort of game before. And I think the big thing I've noticed with the con games the few ones that I've watched and then taken part in, is it's focus. And then, in fact, I talked to Daniel about this last time we hung out, which was, I guess, last week. That building your adventures in a modular way. So you have these little modules, and the reason for this that he mentioned, and he has a lot of experience running these games, and I don't, but it makes sense to me, is that when you're in that con game, and you can you have your eye on the clock a little bit out of the corner of your eye, you're kind of keeping track of where you are in the game. So you could take a situation, say, okay, well, maybe I have this dungeon. It's got 3 sections, but I notice that time's getting short, and they're still in the first section. So what you could do then is say, well, I'm just not going to play the second section. Second section is whoop, and then the third section is going to slide over because I know they're going to get there. Or maybe even it's just another part of the first section, or maybe there's some kind of additional mini section that I can just shit in there. If they're just going through content too fast, I can plug that in and do that. My thinking is that I won't have. I'm wondering if it'll be. My first impulse when I'm looking at this is my feeling is I think I'm going to have plenty of time. Now, I don't know that for sure. There's only this dungeon is small. It's only all the encounter areas. It's what we got 8 if they hit everything. Not a lot. It's not super big. Now, a lot of it this is a small area, but it is dense in the fact that there is stuff in all these rooms. This is not a situation where oh, it's this many rooms and this many rooms are empty. It's like, no, there's pretty much something going on in each one of these areas has stuff going on. So we've got that. We've got that. You know what? There is, to Brian Smith's point, there are a couple of NPCs that show up in here that they're just kind of there. I wonder if I could attach some of them to, and I don't know why this PDF just renders like crud on this screen. But we've got Roller, who I think has been, Roller is going to be sacrificed in one of the rooms. And then we've also got Priestess, and Ulfar. So I'm going to make a note of them because I'm going to have these guys have been part of the group also. These are NPCs that are found in the cave, yeah. But they're not in good shape. Well, Ulfar is okay. So in the case of if somebody were to die, Ulfar they could take over. But Roller, I believe, see, Roller is his eyes have been removed, his hands and feet have been crushed. So not great to take. But yeah, so I'm gonna make a note of that. Oh well, let me I need another. I got too much going on. So Roller, 1-4. Ulfar. I'm not so. All right, so thank you for the question, Brian Smith. Let's get down to brass tacks. But let me just do one more. I need another before I forget. Do that here. Okay. I have seen Bone Tomahawk. Yeah, if I was doing that, this is not that kind of situation because they're going to it's not really coming to them so much. But yeah, Bone Tomahawk is awesome. Really underrated movie. Okay. So we're going to have the intro and stuff's going to happen in the sanctuary. Some RP potentially with the Master of Rituals. And I think, I'd like to have folks maybe describe who they've lost, how they died. If someone doesn't know, I'm going to make a table up, roll them. I think I'm also going to have that there were these other two members that were of their group, but that vanished earlier. And I think I'm going to have that the Master of Ceremonies kind of sent them out earlier, or that they had that the players had thought that they had gone off on their own, but in actuality they had feeling the same kind of thing had gone off. Okay. Ulfar. And left the sanctuary together and disappeared. Master of Rituals believes, has reason to believe, that they didn't get far. Okay, so now we're talking. Here's a little more. So we can I think that's fun. So I think what I'm going to do, so we're getting back to how much are they going to spend in town? So in town is going to be where the setup's taking place. Then there's only, it's like I said, looking at these squares 500 yards. Oh wait, you know what? How many yards to a mile? I don't know. 1 mile is 1,760 yards. So the distance, so actually it's a little bit more than a half mile. So this is 1,500. So that's 1 mile. It's really maybe 2 miles. So sorry about that. I said a half a mile. It's more like, I suppose I could put out, but I'm guessing, something like that. Or actually the cave entrance is probably somewhere here. Or it could be here. We're talking, 1 mile, 2 miles, maybe 2.5 miles, right? Still well within a single hex, well within a day's trip. But I'm thinking somewhere here, there'll be signs of where something happened there. The attack site. Which maybe we can do have some investigation kind of stuff. There'll be a battle site. Battle site. This is where the cannibals ambushed Far and Waller, drawing them off of the road into simple yet effective set of covered. Boom! There we go. Now, I'm not sure exactly what can be gleaned here, but it will definitely give them, since the bodies they weren't killed, they were dragged back. Oh, Brian Smith's I saw that you're about to derail me again, so let's see. Okay. Are the numbers on the map indicative of specific things? Yes, but not the things we're interested in. They're very basic. So here, yes, but I'm not really concerned about them. Yes, in terms of the overall adventure, the module, yes, there's a witch down here. There's the tower here. There is stuff, but in this case, the adventure area in terms of this one shot is basically, something like this square. Really even smaller. It's really a subset, of like that. But yes, the numbers overall are meaningful. This is a map for the entire, region covered by the book. And this is just one thing. Now the main adventure area for the book is here. This is where that kind of Caves of Chaos type setup is, but there is stuff, here, 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 and here. And I know, having talked to the Dungeons Key, that he's planning more follow-up adventures taking place in the same area. So if this adventure sort of sets the overall kind of micro setting, and then is concerned with the Dreaded Hills, and then there will be further adventures that concern themselves with some of these other spots. But that's as much as I can say on that at the moment. So we have this battle site. I wonder what simple covered, because I was thinking, this is all grassland, but it'd be pretty easy to, having dug some pits in there, cover them with some, I don't even know what. I don't know how, I don't know what the, I don't think we have a sense of what the intelligence level of the cannibals are. But I'm just going to presume they're smart enough. I mean, they're not, they're human, basically. And they've got priestesses, and there are a couple of people of higher rank. So they definitely got enough going on. Oh, you know what? That'll be kind of fun. Maybe some of the pits are still. Ooh, we got to make a note of that. The hills have eyes vibes? Yeah, for sure. Some of the pits are still primed. 1 in 6 chance of falling in one, not checking the ground. Yep, the dreaded hills have eyes indeed. All right, so I'm going to make a note of that. Six. I'll just put it in print. I'm already in friends. So in that kind of pit area, but now what? Let me see. So I want, if they're going to go and investigate that battle site, I feel that there needs to be something to be gleaned. There needs to be something to be gleaned that can be gleaned. Yes, I'm wondering if the footprints, yeah, there will be a trail leading back. That's a good point. I already kind of had thought about that in my brain, but I will actually, it's easier to do this here. So yeah, we've got, let's see. Footprints leading towards there. What about the size? Is there anything else? Maybe their weaponry. Maybe there's they left. What are they usually? Blood-soaked fists doesn't. They wouldn't leave those on the ground, so they couldn't be found. Oh, a bit of skin, tanned human skin, a fragment. What would it be? Find a couple of their comrades' teeth. Hey, Magnus. That feels like it'd be really hard to find, hard to spot in the grass. But maybe what would be a fragment of cloth or clothing? What would you call it? A shred, a torn of tanned human skin. Is there anything else? A bone knife? Oh, ooh, I like that. Yeah. Bone knife. Bottom of one of the pits. Scrap. Thank you. Yes. Exactly. Okay. Magnus wants to be reminded. It's called Ouija. And I wish they had an affiliate program because I'd maybe make a penny from the people who ask me about it and then potentially sign up. It's called Wege, WEGE.io. I'll put it in the chat. Now, just to be clear in terms of what you're seeing, I got this on a lifetime, one of those lifetime deals. So I'm on a paid plan, basically. However, that said, I believe that they actually have a pretty darn good free plan. You can sign up for free, and I'm saying this as someone, I get nothing out of this at all, other than I use it. I am not on any kind of affiliate plan. I get nothing back if you sign up or you don't sign up. So I'm saying this simply as a service, having used some other apps which I enjoyed a lot, some of which I felt like the UIs were a little bit more advanced, maybe a little bit more going on. However, I remember I forget the other one I tried, but it limited you to 3 boards or something where didn't take me very long to fill up the boards that I had and want another one, and then I couldn't have one because I used up the free plan, and then I was thinking, do I have to delete one? Do I have to start paying? Which I don't. I much rather here give some money up front and then I'm kind of set than have to keep paying. And I get it with stuff that's cloud-based, browser-based that they have to pay for, bandwidth and all that stuff. I understand it, but there's just a certain point where I feel like I've reached the limit of services that I want to keep paying for over time. So I really seek out these sort of lifetime deals because I can pay a fixed price and I get it. So I'm on one of those here. But having said that, I believe Wege's free plan is pretty generous in terms of the amount of stuff you get, content, boards, that kind of thing. I believe. I didn't check it out in detail, but so check it out. It works. If you like this kind of mind mappy, and you can do there are all kinds of different layouts of boards. They don't all have to, I just start with a blank board and I kind of mind map this kind of weird kind of connection thing myself. But they actually have ones they give you more specialized formatting and tools if you want to do stuff like workflows or all these different kinds of relationship kind of boards. They have many different, thank you. They have many different kinds of templates, I should say, if you want to use this for different things. But I use the blank one. How many cannibals are in the cave, Brightsman? That's a good question. We should probably count that out. Might be impotent. All right, so let's see. We've got 4 cannibals. I should probably make a list here. Let me do this. So we got the cave occupants. Cannibals. All right, so let's look back here. All right, so we have 4 here in B2, the studio. The butcher, I'll leave him separately. Then 6 over here, so that's 10. 4 more here, that's 14. 2d6, so an unknown number, but up to 12. So potentially, I'll just say we'll max it out, say 22. And that's it. So max is 22. It's a little bit unknown. But I would say that probably we can give them an idea. We could say that let's see. Counting tracks will produce an estimate of 3d6 cannibals in the ambush party. Gold paint. Good eye. There's gold paint. Or is that your detail, Brian Smith, or is that something here? Let's see. This covered in gold paint. Good idea. Yep. Good detail. Very nice. Yeah. Some flecks of gold paint. Flex. Nice bit. And they also have those bone knives. So the bone knife, the flecks of gold paint, and then who might be digging around? That's true. That's a good point. I'm going to put a dead cannibal in there. Makes sense that they might have gotten one of them before they got surrounded, or it's half in one of the pits, and then we can have a. Let's see. I don't know if I have any. We have some random. We do have some encounters here. What kind of stuff is in? That's the Deadwoods. We need. Oh, let's see. We need Dread Hills. Do we have some wandering encounters for the Dread Hills? We might not. I'll just have to create one if we don't. Laboratory. Halls of Dread. That's at the end. Halls of Dread is at the end. Deadwoods encounter. Okay, so here we go. Let's go to Wilderness Encounters. We have the Chimera. Giant centipedes. May like giant centipedes. Yeah, all right. So the corpse is going to be moving. Yes. The 4 giant centipedes feeding on the corpse. Why not, right? All right, so we got a bunch of stuff. So they're gonna get a dead cannibal, so they'll be able to see what the cannibals look like and kind of get a sense of it. They count the footprints, they can estimate. Now it's not gonna be the total number because they didn't all empty out to come do this, but I think 3d6, which gives an average of 10, I think is a good number, because if you get 10, that would mean that they kind of the cannibals and sort of the first part might have all come out. Maybe it's less, and I think it makes sense. It would make sense that a part of the tactic would be to sort of overwhelm. If they don't fall in the pits, then kind of push them into the pits, overwhelm them. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have one other thing here. There's a dead horse staked to appear upright. A Trojan horse. So the dead horse here, this to me is what I was thinking about this. Like because part of my thinking was, or part of the challenge, I would imagine. I have the bone knife at the bottom of one of the pits. The bone knife is actually one of the priestess's weapons. The cannibals don't get it. But I have that as in terms of kind of hidden in one of the pits. So if they go down into a pit and investigate the bottom, they'll find it. Otherwise, they'll miss it. But that's a good idea. But I don't want to confuse things, because that's the bone knife is a specific priestess weapon. That would be kind of funny if you put it in like the plunged in the back of the on the cannibal. Like somehow this cannibal wasn't killed by the victims; it was killed by the priestess. So I was thinking about, since this is all kind of open plain, it's how do you ambush somebody in essentially open ground, more or less, right? Grasses, it's not necessarily all mowed, so we'll say it's not over your head grasses either. So how do you get some folks to come out and check it out? So I had this concept of them making a little bit of a, like sticking a horse out here, and maybe the greed of like, oh, look, there's this horse that seems to be forgotten. Maybe we can take it and they'll get us back to town. And it's going to the horse that then, because why would you expect it to be, by the time you can tell that something is wrong with it, then you're falling in the pits. So I kind of like that. So actually, you know what, Brian Smith, you gave me a good idea. Whoops, and why am I in Discord? You did give me a good idea. Maybe I will change. I was thinking I had to change tabs, and I did. Maybe I have to change. Maybe instead of putting the bottom of one of the pits, you have to check out the horse. That way they check out the horse. Hey, Ian. We are not encouraging horse rustling. I was going to say horse rustling. In fact, it was a little bit of horse rustling that got two of these guys in trouble. A field with a dead horse. These guys are leaving. They're on foot. A series of traps that season and marinate. That would be good. That would be good. First, they get splashed with mixture of olive oil and maybe some other things. Then they get their bodies rubbed with things like garlic and pepper and spices, salt. Brian Smith says, is there something they could discover that would start a timer or incite some urgency? My guys would just investigate this place to death or lollygag around. Here's the thing, right? So I don't have to worry about that so much because we're all aware of, because remember, this is the thing that part of the entertainment part of it all, what my friend would call the sausage making, behind the scenes, is that we're all aware of what we're doing, right? So unlike in an organic game where folks could just see fit to just lollygag around, I think folks are going to be mindful of our overall purpose. Now, I suppose what I should do is write this up as if we did have, because some kind of ticking clock would be good. And I think that we can work in a ticking clock somewhere. Yeah, Brian Smith says tar and feather, but it's oil and salt. Yeah, it's like rosemary instead of feathers. Be rosemary and salt and pepper and garlic and maybe some cloves and whatever else. All get rubbed on and then just let you rest in it for a while. So I think it's a good idea to think of the ticking clock. I'm just going to make a separate box over here. I think that we have a natural element, which is these dreams that they've had. And then we also have the Master of Rituals and their dream. No, I meant that. What I wanted to do is have that go to both. Well, this is getting... I don't need to do that. This is getting... So, there is a stew pot. Yeah. There is a stew pot. That's a good idea, too. I'll have to make a note. We have approximately... What do you say it was? Approximately 22... Let me see what if Perplexity, my kind of chat, that chat GPT app. I wonder what it has for some aromas. Let's see. What will it say if I try to feed it? So here's my question to this. Okay. What do I need? Let's call 36 descriptors for cooking aromas. Let's see what I get. Let that marinate. I'll marinate for a second. So we got 22 maximum cannibals. How many? There's the butcher is one. I always feel like I want to name them first. Butcher. One butcher. Oops. And then we also have the priestesses, which I think there's more than one. There's definitely more than one. Of which we have... Okay, those are cannibals. Yeah. Butcher, right, just that one guy. More cannibals. Priestess, okay, that's just one, but I think there's more down here. 2d6 cannibals. Oh, is this another 2d6, or is this the same 2d6 I saw before? No, I think this is... Okay, right, so that's the same 2d6. Okay, so one in that other room. Then two priestesses here. That's three. Three priestesses. Yes, there are some skeletons. You saw that correctly. Yep, in this bone room, 4 skeletons. So yeah, I'll mark them. Yep. Four skeletons. Yes. Assuming they do it, I can't imagine they would not. Yes, that'll be good. All right, so here are some. Oh. No. Okay, so here are some of the words I got. So I asked for descriptors, and I got astringent, acidic, acrid, alkaline, that's bad, ashy, barnyard, burnt, buttery, candy-like, cardboard, caustic, citrusy, chalky, which is kind of the same as astringent, but slightly more defined. Chemical, cloying, earthy, floral, fruity, gamey, grassy, metallic, moldy, nutty, oxidized, pungent, putrid, rancid, roasted, rubber, smoky, spicy, stale, sweet, toasty, umami, and earthy. So there you go. Some of these are pretty good. Buttery. Yeah. So probably I'm not sure what I'm not sure what would work for. I believe that stew has got, people in it, right? So I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. The bubbling vat is brimming with skins. Oh, but it's more like this is not really a cooking vat. It's a tanning vat. So it's going to smell. I think tanning smells awful, if I remember correctly. It's all that. What are the smells associated with animal skin tanning? I think the tanning, if I remember, it's one of those things that's just it's this really horrific smell. Historically, tanning was considered a noxious or odoriferous trade. Exactly. Yeah, so the process of tanning using ancient methods is so foul-smelling that tanneries are still isolated. So, yes. All right. Well, I still don't get the smells. What are the smells of tanning? Not giving me the smells, it's just telling me it smells bad. I know it smells bad. Yeah, urine's in there. Ancient methods of tanning, which involved using urine and animal feces combined with the smell of decaying flesh, was what made the trade so foul smelling. I get it. I'm trying to see if I can get some actual. I mean, obviously, I can do it myself. I'm trying to see. Ian says that they recall that Tower Silverax specifically put the tanner outside the city walls. Yes, as would anybody. Outside the walls or on the outskirts and downwind. Downwind. Imagine a latrine on a very hot day. Yes, indeed. Yes, it involves lots of just not very fun stuff. Yeah, unfortunately, not getting any good. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Maybe this will do it. No, not really. It's the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking for adjectives, perplexity. You're just kind of repeating the same stuff. Yes, I know it's putrid, offensive, unpleasant, stinky. Okay, so let's see. What are some adjectives related to the word putrid? I mean, I can do this myself, but I'm trying to do a little bit more. Magnus says that Roman Emperor Vespasian famously taxed the urine trade. When his son expressed his distaste at this, he told him to smell a coin, saying, "Money does not stink." I've heard, apparently that's interesting, Magnus, because from what I understand, that's there's a Moroccan. So I lived in Morocco for a few years, and there's a Moroccan saying that is money has no smell. So I don't know if it came from the same idea, or I mean, obviously it came from the same idea, but I don't know if it came from the same kind of incident because there was a Roman presence in Morocco at some point. But that's great. Yeah, money doesn't stink. Money has no smell. decomposed, rotten, foul-smelling, contaminated, fetid, rancid, rotting, corrupted, spoiled, decayed, putrefied, rank. Well, putrid and putrefied. All right. I think we're not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna get any synonyms for putrid that describe a foul odor. Yes, please. Fetid, foul, malodorous, musty, noisome, rank, stinking. All right. I think it's not giving me anything. I was hoping for some super cool kind of words I could not have figured out myself, but it didn't. But yeah, I should definitely make a note that the smell from the tannery. I mean, that might be the first thing you smell in general, because I don't think there's any. I don't see B1. So here's where you're coming in. The tannery is here. I'm going to say that it takes. I got a couple of notes here. All right. So I got to get some notes down. And the notes, I don't know where I would put. Where do I want to put cave? I'm going to put cave stuff over here. I need cave environment. All right, so the fumes from the tannery, make a note. Which room is the tannery is B4. Just I guess the tunnels of, hold on a minute. I need to see, are there other doors? I'm just going to say that it's pulled, there's a draft, so it gets pulled out through the door. So tunnels of the den are inundated with fumes from the tannery. The fumes are so strong that PCs must either cover their noses and mouths or suffer a complete rolls as an alternative. After 1 hour in the caves, they become used. They become what's the word? Is it not familiar enough? But they become accustomed to the fumes enough for the penalty to end. There we go. Acclimated. Thank you. Yes, acclimated. I know in real life it probably wouldn't work that way. I don't think you could just stand in close confines of that thing and do that, but it'll give them a reason to. It's a nice environmental effect. Also it will affect visibility. Let's see. I'll make another note about that. Fumes limit visibility to 30 feet while the vat is active. Hey, Adam. Adam says, "Can I comment on how it's been using Ouija for prep?" Roll a wretch check. I like it. Campbell HVAC. Okay. So I mean, Adam, you're seeing me use it. I enjoy it. So I've used this on a bunch of streams, and I like it. So what I like about it is that you can basically dump anything into here. If I just zoom out here, I have a bunch of these text fields. This is a PDF. It didn't do a great job with this one. It's a little bit, sometimes it does a better job than others. I don't know if there's something to do with this PDF, but you can see here, it's just not well, like it's not, I don't know, it's soft, right? But it does an okay job with PDFs. But you can embed them in here. So I can have this PDF embedded in here. This is an image. I can have the image embedded in here. You can create lists. I can, if I wanted to organize things better, and I probably will at some point, probably before tonight's game, organize things up in here. I like making all the connections, so I can say like, oh, this ticking clock, and it connects this and this. I like making these kind of mind mappy connections. There are different types of notes, which I just discovered this a minute ago. I just never done it before. So you can hit this slash, so you can get headers. I can get a doodle card or a checklist. Date. I can have comments. I'm not sure what a doodle card. Oh, I think a doodle card lets me just draw some stuff. That's cool. It's got a grid. 1-to-1. Gives like a title it. I don't know what this does. Oh, I can have somebody. Okay. So that's cool. So you can do that. And you have, it's one of these things too, right? It's kind of endless scroll, so you can just keep adding stuff. So it's great for if you like mind mapping. If you want, you go and you find some inspirational images. You want to make kind of a mood board type thing. You can drop them in here. You want to have a PDF. If you're referencing a doc and you don't want to lose it, you want to make sure it's connected. You can drop a PDF in there. It's really handy. I'd like to see where it's going. I think it's a fairly newer one of these apps, and it's been growing. I've seen stuff, little bits here and there that they have improved and added to, and I'm confident they will continue to do so. But even just as it is right now, very handy. So if you like the kind of mind mapping style of organizing bits of information, and I like having these kind of little boxes, because I'll make a box and I'll connect it here, I'll connect it there, and I like doing that. You can color code things. I'm just using white right now, but you can do that. You can also wrap. You can make a wrapper frame, and then you can cover here, and I can change the frame name to Hannibal's Den, and I can color the inside of this frame like so, and then I can move stop doing that. I want to move I can move the frame. It's not letting me do it right now. There it is. Move the frame around. I can then have another one of these. Wrap that in the frame. Call that one. I'll just call it the Sanctuary. Short. I can give it a green color, and I can then expand it way out and down, and I can start to move the stuff. Well, actually, this is off. This will be somewhere else. That doesn't take place here. The master ballot map. Backstory. I can pull all this stuff over here. Like so. I don't know what I'm going to do with this ticking clock thing yet. Put that here. Put that here. Right? So I can organize all this stuff around, and then I can highlight this whole thing and move it over. So I like it a lot. I guess I do it. So I use it all the time. I mean, part of it is that I have it. And I was using, I forget the other one I was using. Was it called Mojo? And it was really good. And I think in some ways, just UI wise, UX, user experience, I liked it a little bit better than Ouija. But it was limited. The free Ouija's free plan, I said this before, is I think it's pretty good. I think you get a good amount of latitude to use it. I thought the other one, I was finding myself bumping up against things, because now you could have everything on one board, just have one super board, just have all your projects on there and just use space to space them out. In which case, even just giving you one free board, Miro. Yes, thank you, Miro. Yep, that was it, Miro. But I like to kind of keep the boards separate. And I think, and Ouija gives me all the boards I need. Miro, I was running up against their limits. But, everything is, I get it. But yeah, I thought Miro was a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Polished, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, Ouija works like charm. I just wish they had, for the amount of people that ask me and hopefully check out Ouija over this, I wish they had some way, but I get nothing off it. I'm not affiliated with them. I don't get anything. If you check it out, you like it, great. If you don't, great. I guess it's no skin off my nose either way. But I do like it. I do like it, and I use it. And I do, like I said, I think they are seem to be still in active development, adding stuff. And I also, like I also mentioned before, is they have all kinds of different templates. I use just this kind of blank canvas for sort of mind mapping stuff, but they have all these different templates you can use. You're welcome. If you've used Miro, it's very similar to Miro, and that's why I originally got on Ouija, because I was looking for when I saw it pop up, I was ready for an alternative to Miro, though I enjoyed my time with Miro. Let's see. Yeah, well, let's see. On the list of folks who should be sponsoring the channel, Spindrift, and add Ouija to the mix. Heck, if Miro want to come back and give me a free license, I'd be happy to use Miro again. But maybe when I'm a bigger channel, I can flex some muscles and get some promo goodies. But Ian says Miro seems meh once you try to do more than like a scrum board. Okay, I didn't have. I mean, I believe you. I was just using it for very loose stuff. I'm sure there's all kinds of things that maybe if I had a more specific need, but I felt like for what I'm doing, it worked okay. But I don't pretend to be really stretching the usability of these things. Right? I'm not testing the limits of what they can do. I said they like that the party will see the tan skin scrap and then smell the tannery fumes. Makes easy connections to know the time is ticking for your buds become a purse. Oh, yes. That reminds me, Bryce, that I should definitely have that even riding on the winds, the sights, sounds, smells, that the noisome stink of the tanning vat is, what's it, smellable? What word means smellable? What's the word? What is it? What would be something you could smell it? Capable, olfactable. I think smellable is a little bit easier, but I like olfactable. It's such a word that I guess no, I think that's not, it's not giving me the red line, so I guess it does understand that it is a word. The caves. Fetid. Yes, fetid is good too. Ian says, give them all magical leather armor and sit back and watch the ethical dilemma. When they look inside and there's a little tag that says made in the cannibal dens. Malodorous, another good word. Borat. What was the chair in Borat 2? I don't remember. I've seen Borat 2, or have I seen Borat 2? No, maybe I haven't. Actually, I haven't seen Borat 2. I was just thinking I've seen Borat. Borat, when that movie came out, I just thought it was hilarious. Especially the end when him and his manager fighting through that hotel. Man, I think I hadn't laughed that hard in a long time at something. All right, so what do we got here? So we got what's going on in the sanctuary. Oh yeah, let's do some cause of death. That's here in case somebody needs them. Misadventure. Let's see. Environmental disaster. Disease or sickness. Well, so we got misadventure, environmental disasters. These are sickness. Murder. What else? Accident is misadventure, so I don't need that twice. Environmental disasters. These are sickness. Murder. I suppose there's just old age. Old age. Or I'm just gonna put in there. There we go. An act of God, literally. All right. And that's just if they need it, because I plan to ask. So since for folks who may have missed this or whatnot, the concept behind Kavlov Sanctuary as a place, the sanctuary is this place where you would go to partake in rituals of bereavement and grieving. You lose, somebody dies, you come here to undergo some rituals that maybe they help you with just to get over it personally and help cleanse yourself of it. It might be that you feel on a spiritual level that you have to undergo these tasks. In any case, you're coming here to do it. So the players will all have their characters will all have come here to partake in these rituals associated with grieving. And so I thought it might be fun to ask them, who did they come to grieve for? Like who in their life died that they came to undergo these rituals for? And in case they can't come up with anything, I just, came up with a couple things, just basically who it was and how they died. Oh, guy gets made into a chair. In Borat 2. I got you. I got you. So that's kind of the thing of that. And then in the backstory part of it is that they all came in a caravan of grievers, a caravan of grieving people, and that they were all knew each other, because when you do these rituals, just in the way I'm running it anyway, these rituals are group rituals, but that since you came with this group, you do all the rituals as a group, and so the player, their characters bonded with each other over having been for however many days or weeks going through this stuff all together, because they're doing all the rituals together. They're probably eating together. They're maybe living in apartments that are rooms that are next to each other. So through all of that, these guys bonded together, and then they had these bad dreams. They get called to the master of rituals, who is sort of the spiritual leader who runs all this stuff, who would have known them because they would have been going all these rituals together, and lets them know that having this nightmare going on. And then on top of it, two other guys who had been in their group but had left, that the master of rituals, and maybe he has some scrap of something, that they left, that they have a feeling has gone missing. maybe that they're connected. I'll write this in here so I don't forget. So believes that Waller and Ulfar left a day ago. Are connected to this somehow. And Roller and Ulfar are two NPCs that show up in the caves that we're going to be running through this cannibal's den. They're both about to be victimized by the cannibals, so I'm just giving them a connection to the PCs, so that now, keeping in mind, right, that this live play, which will be tonight at 7 o'clock, hopefully if everything goes well, we're all going to be getting online a little bit before 7 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully we'll all get set up and there'll be no wrinkles. We went through a kind of a dry run a little bit yesterday. So hopefully today at 7, everything will work schnaz magaz, and we can just go. So if everything's showing up, we should hit the red button at 7. And so we know this is a live play for a particular purpose, because we're converting this adventure, which was originally written for Mort Borg to OSE, and everyone's aware of this. So everyone has on the same goal. So somewhat like something like a Critical Role or some other kind of live play, right? We understand what we're trying to do. We understand that we're trying to run this scenario, so folks aren't going to just freelance like you might in your con game, where you get one guy that just insists on going east for no particular reason, to just to go east, right? Everyone kind of understands where they're going, but I'm not treating it. I'm trying. I just think it's more fun for everybody, for me, for them, for anybody. Hopefully, you guys who are watching, to add in these kind of elements. Even though if I had no elements at all, they would march on over to the cave, because we all know that that's kind of what we're trying to do, right? They're all going to be running the classes, these custom classes that were created originally for Mort Borg, that we've been working on converting to Old School Essentials. They're all works in progress. Consider them beta. They're probably a little bit overpowered and weird, definitely weird, because they were Mort Borg originally, so they're going to have a much weirder vibe, idiosyncratic vibe than Old School Essentials classes. But they all have some abilities. I think they're going to be at 3rd level maybe, so I might even bump up some of the cannibals. I don't know. We'll see. Might add some other stuff, because the guy who wrote the module is also playing. So I might want to throw in a wrinkle for them as well. So we all kind of know what's going on, right? So like Brian Smith says, their dream should have their lost person. They're grieving in it. And it might. But, it's one of those things that if I was playing it for just a group of strangers, I would feel compelled to want to add all these different things. I'm mindful of the time, because we've got 3 to 4 hours. Call it maybe 3.5 hours. I think that'll be good. We're gonna, because you start off the stream, and we're not gonna just be jumping in the game. It's gonna be everyone's gonna want to introduce themselves, maybe say something about what they're doing. Daniel from Bandits Keeps Me Playing. Obviously, I know him, and I know the guy, the author, but the other 2 folks I'm not super familiar with. They'll have a little bit, so you get that all kinds of stuff out of the way. So that eats into the time. I don't know how long everything is going to take. The dungeon's pretty small, so that part's not necessarily, it's not super long, but it's pretty densely packed with things. So depending on how things roll, it could be slower, or it could even be fast. Not sure. I've never run this before in any fashion. I certainly haven't run it in this kind of circumstance. So it's all going to be a lot of looking and seeing. General Nutt says, there's one thing I never had to face, the guy who wrote the adventure action. This is true. Now you're making me nervous, General Nutt. And Ryan Smith says, I know it's not needed, but it makes it more fun to feel like it's customized, even if it's superficial. Yeah, sure. And we'll see. We'll see what they come up with. That's, I want to, as I mentioned before, part of me asking for the information is I want to kind of build it in there, but I'm not going to hold people on the spot. Some people love to get into that. You tell them you had a nightmare. Tell me about your nightmare, and they'll all start waxing literary about their nightmare. Other folks are going to be like, and I don't know. I don't know these guys. I don't know what they're going to say. I know myself, sometimes I'm on the spot. I'd be like, oh, I'm not sure. Right. So that's why I have the table here. That's why I'm not relying on it to be anything, but I'd like to have some elements of that in there. But keep in mind, this is kind of like, this is similar. This would be analogous to me running a con game for the very first time. So I don't know. I don't know how long things are going to take. I don't know if having that, battle site, having these things is going to take up a lot of time. They might not really be interested in it. They might bypass it entirely. I don't know. They might get into the caves and just whip through it really quickly, or it might become a real struggle. I'm not sure. Magnus asked if it's 7 p.m. tonight. Yes, 7 p.m. tonight. Eastern, what are we in now? Eastern, what are we, daylight? I don't know, whatever it is. But yes, Saturday, Eastern, U.S. Eastern time. We are running. And what I will probably do, and the other thing I'm thinking, I will probably write all this stuff up and make it available for channel members and Patreon folks. So I never feel like I'm doing enough for the folks who are helping support the channel. So I will probably try to write this up in some kind of way where I can hand it off to Patreon supporters and channel members, and maybe some of the stuff, because I know that I'm going to be one of the stretch goals for the Kickstarters. I'll be writing some material for as part of the stretch goals. So we'll see if that, I don't know, this would be just something separate, but that might be coming along too. The Kickstarter, I think, is like a week away, maybe plus or minus a day or two. So we'll see how that goes too. But so keep in mind that part of the reason why things might go swimmingly well in terms of player focus is because we all have similar goals. We all know what we're doing. But I'm trying to kind of plan things out a little bit as if to add the same kind of stuff I would want to add in. I'm treating it as if I was running a con game for the first time. So given that I don't know what to expect of everything, I am trying to build some breadcrumbs, as Brian Smith talks about, build some connections between potential players and the goals. Trying to think through a little bit of, okay, we have these cannibals who are kind of right near here, and obviously they're roving the countryside to a certain respect. And I think that not the reason why it happens, but that the sanctuary is very defensive, that they're not making forays out into the countryside, but maybe this master of certain rituals, maybe what they do is they appeal to adventuring types to go do the thing that they don't have enough men. You can't afford to expend men on these things. He's got men potentially helping escort these caravans here and back, and then manning the walls and whatnot with overflow. Probably can't afford to go out and take care of these cannibals themselves, so they have to do it. So I think that brings us up to speed. What else have we got going on? So then one of the things I did, so in the, I think we also determined, and if you were here since the beginning of this whole spiel, I might have gone through it already, from the sanctuary to the caves, about, I think I kind of roughly calculate it's maybe 2 to 3 miles, somewhere in there. So not very far. But I put an encounter, quote unquote, out here in this space. And I'm not trying to be exact. It doesn't really matter. They got to leave the road to find the cannibals, and most direct path, around here somewhere. It's going to be, for the purposes of this thing tonight, it's going to be kind of a set encounter. They're going to run across this site, at least see it. If they choose not to engage with it, that's on them, but they're going to see it. And I think we had a good idea to seed it with some clues, if you will, seed it with some information. So if you think as a player, even on a meta level, if we go to this encounter, it's not our destination. We know we need to find presumably, I think the things that the massive rituals, caves, some kind of forms eating people eaters, cannibals of some kind, and a mouth. And they also had mouths in their dreams. So do we need to go to this, quote unquote optional area, right? There's an encounter area out here. Oftentimes, I think referees will put encounters out in space. When I say space, like out in the area, as kind of little resource drains a little bit, test out, pull some of the resources out. We don't want the party showing up with full resources at the end. So we need to seed things out there to cause them to, that kind of 5 encounter day sort of thing. We need to have things to do that. Well, it can be a thing, totally. But I think that if you're going to have the party invest potentially some of their skills, powers, whatever into it, then there should be something to get back from it. It shouldn't just be a total waste. Sometimes an encounter can have something that's beneficial, not to what's happening right away, but it could be something like, oh, there's a +1 dagger that's buried underneath this thing. So if you go and you happen to dig into this thing, you'll get this magic weapon that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Or maybe you'll get a map fragment, or maybe you just get some loot. Whatever it is, there's something there. It's not just, oh, you're going to fight, use up some hit points, use up some abilities, and now you're just kind of weakened down. I think that's kind of lame. So in this case, we have this battle site or ambush site, I guess this is really a better way to call it, which is where the 2 guys, Roller and Ulfir, were ambushed by some of these cannibals. One thing I meant to put in here, the mouth of the cave is going to be shaped like carved into a mouth. The cave itself is going to be shaped like a mouth. I have that in my notes, but not here. So carved shape of a grotesque mouth. Okay, so we got that there too. So we have this ambush site, and I just came up with this. I don't know. I'm not trying to say this would be effective in real life, though it might. That the cannibals had gotten a horse, killed it, and staked it out to make it seem like it was still alive. And I kind of like the idea. Have you ever seen the movie? You probably have. Waterworld. I actually really love Waterworld, and I feel like it gets unfairly maligned. But there was a bit when the smokers. It is the smokers, right? Yeah, the smokers are trying to ambush the stranger, Kevin Costner's character, and they were hiding underwater and just hiding, and they had a boat, like a yacht, or essentially like a sailboat, and they had the corpses. They'd killed the people on the yacht, but they'd put ropes around them to make them the kind of marionettes, and they're having them kind of wave because they're trying to lure him in. And it ends up being a big kind of scene. I imagine that the horse has got ropes or something, and that maybe the cannibals were kind of like, some of them were laying down in the grass, and they were sort of pulling on these ropes that would make the horse kind of move a little bit to be somewhat lifelike. I should probably make a note of that too. Has been rigged. A primitive marionette. Animals lying low in the grass could tug on ropes to move horse's head. There we go. So we got that. So we got that bit. So if they come and they check out this ambush site, they may want to avoid it. But if they come and check it out, there is some danger because there were pits that they dug in and covered up, and some of those pits were not were not activated. They're not, they're not pits that close. They're just covered with, probably using like cloaks and other things they've sort of put together and then put grass and sod on top. But it's good enough to sort of to cover it. And it ends up being kind of pretty good camouflage. And some of them were triggered, some of them weren't. So there's a danger of falling in the pits. The pits have spikes, so they'll hurt, D6 damage. Some of them will be open. There's a dead cannibal that's kind of half in one of them that some giant centipedes are eating. And if they go check that out, they could potentially have a combat with the centipedes. Brian Smith says, not only are they cannibals, they're puppeteers. Yes, indeed. But we have some clues. So long way of saying, though, there are clues. There are good things. If they come and they spend the time and effort to check out this ambush site, they get some clues. They can count some. They can estimate at least some of the numbers of cannibals that marched out. And I'll roll a 3d6 for that. They can find a torn scrap of tanned human skin, which sort of gets into this theme of what they're doing with the people. They can potentially get the smell on the wind, but now they get a little bit. It's not much, but it's a little bit of detail that can get called back when they see the tannery vat and other things. This will kind of call back to it. If they go and they check out the horse closely, they'll see that it was killed with this weird bone knife. The priestesses use those. Some of them use those bone knives. They'll run into that later, which is another just kind of linkage. And they'll find the dead cannibals so they can get an idea of what these guys look like. Also, and then this is a Brian Smith idea, is really good, with the priestesses are all coated in gold paint. And so they can find some flecks of gold paint on the grass. So not a lot, and it's not a lot, and there's not a ton of stuff that's going to give them a mechanical advantage, but it helps paint the scenery. They're going to get a fuller idea of what they're doing. It's sort of thematically reinforcing the people that they're going to be fighting, says some little bits about them. And then when you have that callback later, hopefully, if they discover the stuff, then they can get that callback. Like, oh, the gold paint, like that's where that's from. Oh, the bone knife, that's where that's from. Oh, scrap of tanned human skin, that's where that's from. And then, so, we have these two named NPCs that were part of the original adventure that I'm turning into kind of friends of the party as another sort of thing to kind of push them to go onward. The cave entrance is going to be it's going to be carved in the shape of a grotesque mouth. I'm using the fumes from the tanning vat to really affect the environment. So they'll need to cover up their nose and mouths at minimum. Otherwise, they're going to take some penalties. But it'll wear off, or they'll become accustomed to it if they spend an hour in the caves. So once they do 6 turns in the caves, the penalty will go away, or they can cover up. I'm trying to think what else is going on here. Will the cannibals talk? They must talk. There's nothing is said in here. They're of chaos alignment. I don't know if they'll just talk pure chaos or what. I imagine they must talk. The priestesses talk to them. So I'm going to say they do talk. I'm not sure what they talk. This is where it's going to get tricky from my standpoint, right? The cannibals, it's like you're dealing with a bunch of really fervent, what's the word I'm looking for? They're all like deeply into the cause, to the point that what deals can you make with them? Because, one of the big things in old school playing, whether it's OSE or something else, I don't know that I don't do much of the voices. So I don't know if you're going to hear Cannibal Todd. Plus, I don't want to, whatever voice I make, are people going to be outraged that I would assume that everybody with sort of gravelly voices must be cannibals? The concept of doing I'm definitely going to use reaction rolls. All the cannibals are going to be like puffing their chests, just running at the party. Now, a lot of them don't have a lot of hit points. These cannibals, 4 hit points, 1 hit die. They're not super strong. They're going to be they're going to go down quickly, potentially. Though they've got some nasty. They just hit with their fists that are soaked in blood, but the blood can potentially give you an infection, which means that you won't be able to recover hit points outside of magic, which could be really tough. It can be tough on folks. So they don't have a lot of hit points, but you hopefully want to get them. You want to probably catch them by surprise and knock down as much as you can before they get to you, because you just don't want to get hit and have to roll to save versus infection. Probably don't want to do that. Maybe their first step of cannibalism is eating their own tongues. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. I might have to think about that. Maybe have some different cannibal ranks. Yeah, that might be a good. I might have to do cannibal ranks. I like that. I like that. I like that. I need to ponder that. I like that a lot. I need to think about that. Brian Smith says, so Magnus says, or eat each other's tongues. Even just as well. Oh, Magnus, let's keep this is a family program. It features cannibals tanning human skin. Interesting. I do like the idea that there are going to be different cannibal. I'm going to have to think about that, and I don't have a bunch of time to do it. Pork Borg, nice. Nice. So we're going to have, so there's got to be, let's see, we need to have, what would it be? This is an interesting question, right? So how do you get more cannibals? Clearly there's X amount of cannibals, but we don't know yet. We don't know yet where they get new cannibals from. Who are they converting into cannibals? Oops, I might need to go. Is there some room here that I can have be? There's something I can have. Where like this is B8's the shrine with the mouth. B6 is the ritual chamber. That's back here. B5 is sleeping quarters. Yeah, it's kind of like I feel like it's sort of that the geek from the carnival. You just kind of. All right, so I need. Well, we got to have. Let's see. We need. I don't even know what to call them. What do we call them? New cannibals for now. We got some new cannibals, veteran cannibals. Maybe the dream is the beginning of cannibalism indoctrination. That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I gotta think of something. So it'd definitely be good, because one of the things that can happen with any kind of adventure where you're running into the same folks, and granted, this is not a big dungeon, so there's not that many different. There's not a lot of in this particular dungeon, because we're just looking at one dungeon amongst a bunch. But in terms of this little mini adventure, it's cannibals, the butcher, and the priestesses. And we do have there is some spirits, these weird spirits in the paintings. Yeah, I gotta think about that. I'm gonna have to think about that. Oh my gosh, fine young cannibals. Yes, Mathieu. That's the kind of reference I would have easily missed. And I used to own their album back in the day. I suppose I have to say with some shame. I don't know how many albums they made, but I owned the what was it? The Raw and the Cooked was the Fine Young Cannibals album that I owned. I'm on to the spindrift for the working man. But yeah, I would have rather not been reminded of that coming out of the woodwork to hit me like that in the core of my being. Okay, let's see. I'm at 4:30 almost, and I need to eat before. So I'm gonna say I got till 5. I got another half an hour to work on this. These are not. I need something better. So let's see. Hold on. We've got. I know what we've got. We got. I got to think about. Okay. So we have in different rooms. The cannibals have different purposes. They got different jobs. So we got the cramped tunnel, which they're not really watching. They've got cannibal painters. So this is where we're going to take. We have cannibal painters. That's how I'm going to define them. We have cannibal cooks. Not cooks. Wait, no, wait. Is it cook? Hold on a minute. Are they cooking or what are they doing here? So the studio, they're painting. The butchering room, right? So there is the stew. So yeah, there is cooks, but there's only the butchers in there. So that's fine. And then we have the tanners, cannibal tanners. And then we've got rituals. Well, we have some just kind of off-duty cannibals. I think also the cannibals in the ritual chamber are probably just nothing particular. And then we have the shrine, it's skeleton's shrine, and with the mouth. Brian Smith says cooking, painting, butchering. This cannibal cult sounds like a decent trade school. But maybe that's their pitch. And then we just have sort of, I don't know, off duty. I don't know what it would be. All right. So let's see what we can do here. And I'm on the wrong. Am I on the? No, I'm on the right side. I want to be here. Whoops. Ooh. I need to move this over. Stretch this out. Thanks. So here we've got have the off-duty ones eating some human flesh. Oh yeah, for sure. Painters. Gonna kind of write some stuff out so they're paint smeared smocks made of rags. Brushes. Primitive brushes made of bone and hair. Where do you keep paint? I guess that they just. Where would they keep? Oh, I guess. Well, here we go. So paints mixed and stored in fragments of human skulls. So they're the painters. They paint with blood. I'd like to think that they have to mix the blood with something else. Blood would definitely be a component. Who knows what kind of weird pigments? I'm probably not getting into it because who's gonna ask? If they get into that question, I can kind of riff on a mixture of blood and pigments. I don't know. I don't know that I need those particular details. Now I need the cannibal tanners. They wear leather. These are already wearing kind of smocks. Maybe I'll have them wear the smocks. And these guys will be wearing just shirts or like ponchos. Leather, obviously, because it's made of animal leather. What are the tools? What tools were used in tannery? Anyone know? What tools were used in ancient tanning? I don't know. All right, needle. All right, stone. Oh, so you need scrapers, flint, scrapers, fleshing knives, made of bone. Yep, I got the. What's anything else? And then needles. Okay. So even though they're not going to fight, so part of the thing is here, these different cannibals are not going to fight. They're not going to have different tactics. But at least they'll have some individuality. Maybe they will like rush at them with throwing the, it's just not something that's going to be terribly relevant mechanically, but something like if you come in and you see them, they've got these skull fragments with thing and they're doing, and maybe their first action would be just to throw the paint at the party or do something like that, which not necessarily going to have a mechanical effect, but it'll help make the different encounters feel a little bit different. It's not just cannibals, but you enter a new room and you see these other cannibals are wearing different things, which also helps, I think, not to say, I wouldn't say lay the groundwork because it should already be apparent, but that there's some order to it. They're not just these kind of crazy people. Magnus is sort of like flayed ones from Warhammer 40K. Not familiar with that. I know very little about Warhammer 40K. So what's the deal with flayed ones? Inquiring minds want to know. I want to know. Magnus says, what if one of the cannibals has like super distended fingers where the bones stick out through the skin like knives and uses it as fleshers? Ew. All right, now that I've seen that, that's grisly. What if one of the priestesses is wearing a skin pinned onto her with bone needles a la Hellraiser? Is that what the deal is with Hellraiser? That it's needles? Because they don't look like they're stuck on there to actually do a purpose. I saw the... Okay, I read about the 40K one. Okay, so that's the 40K guy. I see. As far as Hellraiser, maybe I don't know enough about the Hellraiser mythos. I just thought he just had a bunch of needles in him. I like the idea that the that maybe one of the priestesses here. Is there a priestess that's in a good spot? Maybe the lead priestess, head priestess. I definitely like that. Let's make a note. Oh, I didn't need to do that. Garbage out. And priestess. Yep. Wearing a tanned skin suit onto a figure by a multitude of bone needles. I like it. I think I know where to put. She'll be leading the ceremony in the ceremony room. Let's see. So the Tanner, the guy with the weird, like Wolverine, but a cannibal. That would be in the tannery. I think some kind of weird, like I don't know if like magical, but just like their hands have been all. I like the idea of the tanner. The hands are all just messed up, and they've been like it's been like they did it, like using acid and whatever. Their hands are all just not necessarily distended, but their hands are like the fingers are all these weird gnarled bone. I don't even know how to describe it. It's making me kind of queasy, but it's good. Skin scraper cannibal. Fingers have been dissolved, defleshed, twisted, and malformed into animalistic claws. Magnus says, "Queasy is a good feeling. Makes killing the monsters more satisfying." Yeah. Maybe he wears a mask. Wears a skull over its face and a and a tanned, quotes again, leather cape. Brian asks if anybody's being dangled over a boiling vat of acid. I believe that I'll see. Where's Roller? Oh, he's about to be. So Roller's about to be sacrificed in the sacrifice chamber. Ulfar is trying to pretend to play dead. Is not pretending to play dead. Is playing dead in the butchering room. Nobody is currently in the vat. But we do get two of them. They're definitely in jeopardy, hovering near their destruction, just not in that room. The tannery room is not where their jeopardy is. But Ulfar has got the butcher leaning over him, and the other one is about to be ritually sacrificed. Yeah, so Magnus says the priest has a skin robe where the hood once was a head or several, and a cowl has a stretched out jaw. Pretty gross. They say she's in the nude, but I what did I say? Did I said? So I kind of like that's why I have like the skin suit. which I like that idea, and that kind of keeps her sort of nude, but it's a weird thing where like, oh, she's naked, and you get closer, it's like, oh, that's not her real skin. She's wearing somebody else's skin over herself. Ugh. Or more likely, kill. Right, what's that Simpsons episode? It's something. Oh, I don't even. It's not even. I don't think it's one of their better episodes. But I want to say I don't even remember. That's funny because I remember the bit that I like. I always find funny in that, but not the surrounding stuff. I think it had to do with, was it Maggie or somebody was going to become a TV star, and they're going to these execs, or one of the guys goes like, yeah, he's trying to maybe talk them out of it or something. He goes like, yeah, talk to Kid Kill here. And then the other guy comes up and goes, hey, don't call me that. The name's Arthur Kid Kill. I don't know why I like that. Because at first you think the joke, obviously, right, that the guy's saying derogatorily, calling him a kid killer. But the reality is like, whoa, don't have to call me that. Call me Arthur Kid Kill. Brian says, if we end up killing the creator's character, gotta have one of the most over-the-top death scenes. Well, that's kind of up to. I mean, I'll do what I can. I'm not going to be out for blood, but if I'm kind of curious. I don't know. There's potentially so we got a party of four. I don't know if they're taking any hirelings in with them. So party of 4. There's some dice involved. 22 cannibals, the butcher, 3 priestesses, 4 skeletons, and the mouth. And the issue, I think I was saying this before, the issue can be with something like this too, is fanatics is the name I was looking for. You're dealing with people who are essentially fanatical. So, right, we were even wondering, do they even talk? Like, what do they do? So when we're approaching those old school style concepts of things like tactical infinity, whatever you want to call it, where you're basically like, by hook or by crook, we're going to win. One of those weapons is that dealing with talking to people, bargaining. But in this case, what can you bargain with cannibals? What can you offer them? What can you do? Mr. Portfuzzy or Portfuzzle says fanatics probably don't, for morale, wouldn't run with morale like berserkers. I'm going to have them make morale checks. I am going to do that, but it might be that what that will entail is not that they're running out, but that they might run to a different part. So they might, you're in this room and they might run here, they might run down, they're going to run looking maybe for help or whatnot. Probably not just going to run out and away, though. Who knows? Maybe it depends on what the party does. I mean, there's always that part of the party cleverness thing, whatever, where I don't know what they're going to do. And maybe they'll come up with some amazing thing that will cause the cannibals to run. I don't know. But it is a little bit like that particular weapon is maybe now not in their arsenal so much, because they're not going to be able to sit down and have tea with the cannibals and say, so, like, what can we offer you? Flesh. Well, we can't give you flesh. Can we give you some gold? Flesh. Well, how about free passage? Flesh. There's flesh. They worship a mouth that wants flesh, and they want to eat flesh. So, limited options there. The bone splinters are from the knife, right? But they are, so yeah, they basically, it is kind of like persistent damage. It's right now, and again, this is beta, so it could change, but they basically drop your maximum HP by 1, So it's kind of like you have it is in a sense a persistent wound. Yeah, you don't want it. So I'm thinking that I'm wondering, because I'm not, if you've watched any of my videos, I'm not one to try to solve problems for the PCs. This is what they have to do. How do they do it? But I'm definitely going to be very open to. I mean, I try to be open anyway. But in this particular case, I'm going to be extremely open to what kind of alternative tactics they can come up with, because probably cleaning out this place room for room, not that it can't be done, because the cannibals, though there are bunches of them, have very few hit points, 4, so averages, they're going to take a hit and drop. But there's numbers of them. The I like Brian Smith says the priestess has bone splinters in her body. Oh, interesting. I like that. But some of these, particularly, I might give a little bit of extra to the skin scraper cannibal. Might get a little extra something, because I just feel like maybe he's more. He's got a little bit more going on, so I want to like that. But it's going to take some. It takes some doing. Let's see, high priestess. This is. Ugh. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Yeah. Brian Smith asked if bandits keep Daniel some kind of skin-based class or something. I think he is. Where'd you get that information, Brian Smith? Because I don't think I didn't share that. But I believe that is the case. Oh, whoops, I'm in the totally wrong thing here. Where is the chat? So, from what I understand, from what we've got right now, let's see. Hold on. Scrolling up. So, whoa, who is what? Oh, sorry, I'm just scrolling up. Okay, the Jean-Luc, the author, he's going to be a mycotic fiend. Let's see. The Flesh Weaver, one of the other players is going to be a Flesh Weaver. Daniel's going to be a skinned bastard. I know there's another player. Did they pick? Or did I miss it? Maybe they didn't pick yet. So one Flesh Weaver. So we actually have two skin. Oh, I mentioned it. Okay. Skinned Bastard is Daniel's character's class. One of the other fellows is playing a Flesh Weaver. Oh, the other one. Okay, there it is. One of us playing a degenerate cannibal. So we're going to have cannibal on cannibal violence, which is going to be great. So maybe the cannibal, I'll have to make a note of that. Cannibal, the degenerate cannibal can probably, I know, right? 3. That's just the way these roll. So I'll definitely make sure the degenerate cannibal, I'll make a note, can talk, can speak to the cannibal. He knows the cannibal's language. I suppose that Brian Smith has tempted the degenerate cannibal to join them. Could be. I mean, they I don't know. I'm just making this up. There we go. There we go. Okay. Well, that's good. The degenerate cannibal, assuming he lives, will be able to talk to them. There might be some interesting conversations to be had there. Definitely some interesting conversations. Brian says they know nothing about Morkborg. Don't worry, I don't know tons about Morkborg. I mean, I read it. You can go back and check out the read through we did on the channel. I am not super expert in Morkborg. Morkborg, it very much leans into kind of weird, leads into, I think, really strong archetypes. Strong in everything, strong in their characterization, potentially strong in their abilities. not necessarily strong on their lifespans. I really think they're made to be, what's that phrase from Blade Runner? You know, you're the candle that burns twice as bright, burns twice as fast. I really think that they're coming in hot, and then they're whoosh, and then, you know, they're gone. And that's kind of, I get the vibe out of there. It's kind of, it remains to be seen, just for me intellectually, how that's going to work with OSE, where of course your characters don't necessarily live long in OSE, but the potential's there for, I think, a much longer lifespan. Not only just not only in terms of level growth, but just in terms of sessions and things. And how does that play out when you take this really blah kind of character and then stretch it out a little bit, or, you know, whatever. So we'll see. We will see. General Nut says, how off-putting would it be if the cannibals speak in a very affluent, sophisticated common language? It would be definitely a twist. I think, and I don't think I would do this for this particular thing, but I could see that being very interesting and fun for a sort of campaign where you play on the cannibals speaking in something, you know, weird, that they speak in something very, you're very much, in an interesting way, I think, making a statement, right, about the world. You know, so that would be good. Scrap of tan skin clue might be something they could use. I mean, they might, yeah. I mean, I could see the, I don't know if use is the right word. I would think if the degenerate can, and I could definitely see calling out to that character, or making a point of saying, like, oh, like, you know, degenerate cannibal, you can see right off. This is what that is, right? This is what it is. Let me go back. So I only have a few minutes left because I have to do something to eat and get prepped. Or not, I mean, just get myself physically prepped and get the stream reset. Is there anything else I kind of want to see in here? There's our guy Roller. There's the bone room. We got the skeletons in the bone room. Oh, we do have some random scrolls. I don't think anyone can read scroll. I don't know if any of those classes can really read scrolls. I know we have some that are kind of pseudo spellcasters, including the cannibal. I might need to, I'll see that when they get there. The cannibal picks it up, you find a ration. Exactly. Magnus is working late, so, and might try to tune in. Yes, try to tune in. The Flesh Weaver is a spell thing. Let's see, which one? Flesh Weaver. Well, let's see. I'll show up real quick. I'll go through. Let's just look at the Mork board classes, because I don't have the OSC versions in front of me. Well, let's take a look. So we've got the Blood Baron's kind of a vampire type. So the Flesh Weaver. Zoom in. So here, this is in the Morkborg framework. So you can see you have all these different abilities, and then you get one. You have one to start, and then you get one additional one. But one additional one. The first time, basically, you gain a level, you get one more, and then you can re-roll one of those on levels. So it's very much kind of a grab bag of potential abilities. Now, some GMs, maybe they let you pick or whatever, but, you know, by the book, you're kind of taking two, and then you could swap them out. So you might go through one level and you've got two of these, and then the next level you decide to switch them both out. Have things completely different, right? And playing kind of fast and loose in a way that you don't see in old school Essentials. So we're not doing that for the old school Essentials one, right? So things are going to be slightly different, but you get these abilities for the Flesh Weaver. They're doing things, they're shaping flesh. They're doing things similar to what these cannibals are doing in actuality. So they can possess an ability to shape and manipulate flesh. They can use, they have a kind of a meta currency that's called spools of bloody sinew that they're using to do things like stitching. So they can alter people's appearance by stitching extra bits of flesh and stuff onto them. They can make themselves like a little kid by stitching body parts together. They can make kind of their own like Pinocchio type child made of flesh. They can potentially have these big like scissors kind of weapon that they can use. They can potentially cut people in half. They can make their own armor from the hides of dead things. They can attach extra limbs and stuff to themselves, and they can also heal themselves. So yeah, and we're gonna have one of these. They don't, I forget with this one how the OSE progression works. They won't have access. Some of them we did like a thief type style where you have access to everything. They can make a Skinocchio. Yes, well done. They could make a Skinocchio. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Yep. So the Blood Baron, I do not think we have in the game. Essentially, it's kind of a vampire. Now, the Degenerate Cannibal has they can kind of gain some of the memories of victims if they eat some of them. They can kind of do some kind of magic by cutting hunks of flesh off of their victims and reading it. They can devour souls and gain some of the ability. They can put bits of their victims into jars of bile and then use them to gain some advantages. They can, what does this one do again? This one, this Dark Bargaining, I think it is not in the Old School Essentials one. I don't know if we hadn't figured out a way to make it work yet. And there's so many abilities that so this one won't be making an appearance because it's not there. And then the Tapeworm, they can summon this Tapeworm that can come out and attack things. I imagine, yes, I will have some. I don't know if I need. I think that'll be pretty. I think easy to come by the kind of memories. I'll probably lean on basically what happened to the two dudes. I said Tapeworm familiar. Good Lord, yes. And then the Mycotic Fiend is actually a fungus that is hosted on a body. So you actually have you're not the body, you're the fungus. And you can actually jump from body to body if you want. You can plunk mushrooms. You can have mushrooms grow off your host, and then you can plant them, kind of do like a little alarm system for yourself. You can create have spores release and sort of a hallucinogenic spore release. You can eventually get immune to disease and sickness through the way your host. Brian Smith says the Master of Rituals is just like, please leave. Yeah. You can actually add more hosts to yourself, but in doing so, you have to basically remove some of your max HP, so your permanent HP, and you can try to basically infect another host with your spores and create a new one, but sort of kind of like a little bit of a clone sort of thing. You can make some more mushrooms, plant mushrooms, and get some kind of healing or poison. And then you can at high levels you just regenerate because you're able to regenerate. You have so much of the fungus going on that you're able to basically replace what's lost to basically gain regeneration. And then the Skin Bastard has this thing where they were skinned alive by these fae that abducted them. So they're not actually about, even though their backstory is all about being skinned alive, their powers are more about dreams and revelations and using the frightfulness of their bodies to their advantage. So that this is like just them looking at you, they suffer from penalties, reactions, and morale because you're just awful to look at. You can you can do things with shadows. You can move between shadows. You can summon this kind of phantom horde through your mournful singing. You can send people to sleep with your singing. You have, and then you can just kind of go mad, and you get kind of like this frenzied attack. Whereas Smith says, "Gird your loins for 200% body horror." Exactly. So now you got a run through of the now. In the Morkborg versions are a lot more kind of. They don't, we've added, because again, we're converting this for Old School Essentials. So some of the stuff now has percentages attached to them where you have to roll to try to see if you can do the thing. Whereas Morkborg generally lets you just do the thing. But with Morkborg, you only have 2 of them at a time. And some of these, you have all the abilities at once. It's just you have various levels of percent chance of doing it, kind of like the Thief skills, where you have chances to do all this stuff, but the chances start off being low. I think they're starting at 3rd level, so they'll give them a little bit of a bump. You know, we're probably going to be lenient on like, hey, use the thing, because we want to show people the stuff, right? We want people to see. We don't want everything to be like, I try to do the cool thing and I fail. So chances are you're going to see, you know, we'll probably, if there's in doubt, like let some folks do some cool stuff. These all feel like Cenobites. I don't know. We'll see. But that's the spiel. And with that, in 2 hours, actually slightly less than 2 hours, I will be back here. Same bat channel, hopefully. We're a few minutes late. Just give us time because we're trying to get everything together. But I'm going to try to be up. I'm going to try to be like ready on my side early to help folks with troubleshooting, all that. So, and I don't have fancy frames or anything like some of the Roll20 stuff. It's going to be very simple. We're doing theater of the mind. We're rolling dice just on our own desks. So it's going to be, you know, we're doing just Scouts honor in terms of rolling dice, and we're going to be giving it a shot. So we'll see. It's the first time I'm doing this, first time I'm running this kind of adventure. So wish me luck. Hopefully you'll come and root me on and root on the players and their characters to survive. But I got to run because I got to get some dinner and just kind of refresh, repair my vocal cords, and make myself nervous. And then, Nightbot gets Magnus at the end. And the final hour, Nightbot steps in. No VTT. Nope. There's nothing really to I don't have anything to show. No VTT. You'll be looking at our glorious faces, and we'll all be participating with our imaginations. So, yeah, looking forward to it. So, yeah, I'll be back. We'll all be back. Ian's been sliding and improving half of Brian's messages. Oh, that's funny. Well, thanks, Ian, for moderating. And yeah, should be a lot of fun. Should be good. Yeah, the link. I've already set up the stream, so you should be able to go and see on YouTube. Presumably, that seems to be where everybody seems to watch through YouTube for the most part, but it'll also be on Twitch and Facebook and otherwise. But yeah, all right, folks, I got to run. I thought we did amazing work. Hopefully, I won't just totally freeze and forget half the stuff. That's why it's good to write it down. See you, hopefully, all of you, more than all of you, in a couple hours. Game on, everybody. Talk to you later. Literally later. Bye now.